Good evening everyone, it's that time of the year again, major time, and I'm back from the dead to bring you some of the potentially worst predictions on Earth. Now the Pickem system is a bit different for this major. It's the first major that uses the Swiss system for the group stage, which means that there are no groups in the group stage, just winning teams play against winning teams, losing teams play against losing teams. Those teams that get 3 wins qualify for the playoffs, those teams that get 3 losses are out. In this case, we do have to make a pick for one team that we think goes out of the group stage with a perfect 3-0 winning record and one team that goes out in the group stage with a perfect 0-3 losing record. Both of those spots are going to be reached by 2 teams, so you have a 2 out of 16 chance for any of those to hit. Other than that, we also have to choose the other 7 teams that we think advance to the playoffs. In my case, I went with the Astralis for the team that I think will advance with a perfect 3-0 winning record. Just overall, I feel like they are an extremely well-rounded team. Another option you might go for there is SK Gaming, although they are playing with Fox as a stand-in, so I'm not entirely sure how this will affect their performance. Maybe if you're feeling a bit frisky, you could also go with FaZe. Now for the perfect 0-3 losing record, it almost hurts to say this, but I went with Flipside because I just feel like they are one of the weakest teams in this major. I have to say that this major is extremely packed with great teams. It is quite difficult to really pinpoint to the teams that are the worst or worse than most other teams. Other potential choices for this spot might be Hellraisers or even Godsend. And for the rest of the teams that will advance to the playoffs, SK Gaming is quite clear. Even if they are playing with Fox as a stand-in instead of FNX, who was kicked, they are still one of the strongest teams, especially seeing how Fox is performing better with SK than he was when he was playing for FaZe. North have really been stepping up their game. We've even seen MSL getting 1 or 2 kills every now and then, which is almost unheard of from him. I'm over-exaggerating a bit, but it's nice to see that they are getting more and more consistent and better at that. So I think Discount iBuyPower has definitely a spot on my playoff team list. Now Virtus Pro, they might start a bit slow. This is why I haven't picked them for 3-0, but they do have the potential for that. Overall, I think it's quite safe to say that they will get out of groups. They have been playing very good and very consistent at the end of 2016. I really hope that they can carry this over to 2017. Now for Navi, I gotta be honest, I'm not completely sure. They are not as consistent as Virtus Pro in my opinion, so this is probably not the safest pick, but in my opinion it's also one of the teams that do have a greater chance of getting out of group stages. FaZe, on the other hand, is in my opinion quite a clear favorite to go out of group stages. They are one of the strongest teams in the game in my opinion. For my 7th pick, we do have Optic. They have really shown that they can play at the highest levels, compete at the highest levels and win at the highest levels, so I'd personally be highly surprised if they didn't get out of groups. They just had such a phenomenal run in late 2016, so I'm really looking forward to see a North American team compete at the highest level of CS again, because right now Optic in my opinion is more or less the only contender for that spot. And for the last pick, I picked Fnatic. Maybe not the most safe choice, but in this system with those teams that are playing so well all right now, it's just too difficult to really pinpoint too many teams that are 100% gonna get out of groups. I actually don't even think that there are teams where you could say, well yeah, under no circumstances they will not get out of groups because a group stage only consists of best of ones. So you could also switch out Fnatic, in my opinion, maybe for Gambit or one of the 2 French teams, G2 or Envy, but I just think that Fnatic has an edge over all those. Maybe the closest contender would be Gambit, because with the pickup of Hobbit I think they gained a lot of firepower, but we'll have to see how he will perform at his first major to really determine how well this team will do in the future. Now, one thing to keep in mind, there are quite a few teams whose contracts end by end of January, and there are quite a few roster changes incoming. First of all, we do have SK, who obviously are looking for a new 5th after the major. Then also roster changes incoming almost certainly for Envy and G2. This is also one of the reasons why I didn't pick any of those teams to advance out of group stage, because I'm not too sure how the motivation will be for all the players in those teams teams. There is gonna be this new French super team, quote unquote, and there are just half the players from those two teams in it, and Smiths as a coach presumably. But in this case you just have 2 players from each team that will not continue to play at this very highest level officially. Maybe they will make a second team that will be able to compete at the same level than the new French super team will, but we'll have to see how this goes. Also, roster changes might be incoming for Fnatic and Godsend. In my opinion, at least for Fnatic, not as likely as for some other teams. Godsend, I could see them swapping out some players. So yeah, those are my picks and a couple of thoughts about the major. Also, I thought about trying to cast a couple of the games myself, so please let me know if you'd be interested in seeing something like this. It's just something I've thought about quite a bit in the past. Maybe I should give casting a go, see if I like it. I haven't done anything like this before, so this would be a first for me. Yeah, just let me know if you'd want to see me cast some world-class CS games in a mostly horrible way. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.